I did a search of author for my last three TED Talks that I'd be watching, and I came up with three totally different topics, all equally interesting. The first was author Karen Thompson Walker, and she was giving a speech titled What Fear Can Teach Us. This was interesting as she pointed out without fear, our imagination isn't working correctly. And if our imagination isn't working, then we are limited in our storytelling. This was a new perspective on fear for me, and one that I find very useful as I'm a self admitted coward, but I'm also an aspiring novelist. The second speaker was A.J. Jacobs, and he spoke on how healthy living nearly killed him. So, this was kind of just a funny look at going overboard with being really healthy, using buckets of sunscreen, and wearing a helmet even when you walk down the street. Um, he claimed that this short hiatus, where he practiced only healthy living, actually ended up becoming such an obsession for him that he suffered greatly when it came to friends and family and his social life, which is equally important for your health. Um, the point of that one was, of course, we need to have balance in whatever we're doing. The third speaker was Susan Cain, and she was discussing the power of introverts. And hers automatically caught my eye because I've actually read her book on the power of introverts. She states that the world is actually designed and cheerleads extroverts and is kind of biased toward introverts. Introverts are kind of looked at as a no-no. Um, and she says that we actually need to embrace our introvert and celebrate and recognize it. Um, what do all of these TED Talks have in common? I would say, first and foremost, most importantly, is of all the six TED Talks that I've watched and all the TED Talks that I've watched in the past, and I have watched some, storytelling seems to be the main theme in them. It's very important to speak as if you're telling a story because then people become absorbed. Your audience wants to listen. They don't feel like they're being lectured at, but rather they feel like they're in the middle of it. And number two, just as important, is humor. Humor lightens things up. People like to laugh, but obviously in certain cases humor probably wouldn't be appropriate for some talks. So when humor isn't present, there's the added element of suspense, which is what I saw in the fear talk with the other author. So I would just say that we need to work on telling the story and not necessarily speaking at our audience as these speakers have done, and they've been pretty successful with it. Thanks, class.